What's up, guys? Welcome back to Daniel Talks Football right here on YouTube. I'm Daniel and we are back with another video. I've missed doing these type of videos and we are back with how do PSG cope without Messi, Mbappe and Neymar. Before we do get into the video, please make sure to like the video, comment down below and also subscribe to the channel. Go and follow the TikTok and the Instagram, Daniel Talks Football on both. I'm going to start getting more consistent with the shorts. I was on a really good run, then I took the break, but we're going to be back, we're going to be consistent and yeah, they're coming back. PSG then. Obviously, recently sacked Luis Gautier and brought in Luis Enrique to come and be the new manager. They've made a whole host of signings, including Agate, Lucas Hernandez, Hugo Ekitike on a permanent deal, Kang-in Lee, Skriniar and Marcus Asensio. They've also let go of a couple of players so far already, with Messi and Sergio Ramos departing the club, and fringe player Ebimbe also leaving the Parisians, and this is meaning that PSG have a lot of work to do this summer. We're going to sort of have a look at what their squad could look like within, the next 1 to 2 years. However, they've got a decent amount of work to do, especially in that attacking region. Defensive-wise, they're okay. Midfield-wise, it screams average, but they're okay. It's the attack where they really need to go out and strength. But we'll start with the goalkeeper. And yeah, I think in this position they're okay. Look, Donnarumma does make mistakes, but he's still only 24 years of old. 24 years of old, he's still only 24 years of age. He's a top keeper. He just needs some time to be able to grow, really. You've got to give, 24 to a goalkeeper is incredibly young. Give him 2-3 years and I think he will be excellent. You've got to remember what Donnarumma's already been through. This guy's been playing first team football since the age of 17. That is incredible for a goalkeeper. He has shown that he's at the top of the game. We saw what he did in the Euros with Italy. I think you've just got to give him some time. I think you can have Sergio Rico as a backup as well. I think he will do just fine in that role. And I just don't think there's any need to invest in a goalkeeper. I do think it's time to let go of Keylor Navas, though, get their wages off the wage bill and move them on to a different club. Moving on into left back, and again, I think you're good in this position as well. Nuno Mendes is a top quality player. I think the Portuguese left back is one of the best left backs in the world. There is a bit of a dip at left back at the moment. We've seen how strong that right back area can be in terms of just all over Europe. I think in terms of left backs, you are having a dip in terms of top quality left backs. But I do think that Nuno Mendes is a really good left back. And again, he's somebody that can grow with this PSG team. It's not going to be a quick fix. This is going to take 2 or 3 years to win them the Champions League. But sticking with somebody like Nuno Mendes, again, you can't really go wrong. I think somebody like Juan Bernat is, again, a suitable backup. They've already got him. They don't need to spend money in that area. Maybe it's something they look to do next summer. But I think it's a priority for this summer. You can leave it. It's also time to move on, leaving Kurzawa, though. See if you can get any money for him. If not, let him go on a free transfer. He's not good enough for PSG anymore, and yeah, it's time to move him on. Moving on into the centre of defence. Now, the club have already brought in 2 really good centre-backs so far this season. So far this summer, with Skriniar and Lucas Hernandez being brought in by the club. I think they're 2 very good options. You've got Kimpembe and Marquinhos already at the club. Again, these are 2 very good players. I don't think there's any need to bring in a new centre-back. If you wanted to, you could possibly bring in a younger option. But you do have somebody like Timothy Pembele around the club who can play at centre-back or right-back. I think you could also possibly move on Abdou Diallo. I don't think he's got much of a place in that PSG side anymore. I think they've moved past needing him, and I think if you could pick up maybe 10 to 15 million for him, it's time to move him on. Then moving on into right-back. I've said there's a lot of top-quality right-backs out there at the moment, and PSG have 2 of them. They've got Hakimi, they've got Mukiele. These are 2 very different right-backs. Obviously, Hakimi really liking to push on forward and, join the attack. And Mukiele, if anything, can join in to become a third centre-back at times, developing that sort of elbow formation, which we've spoken about on the channel before. But there's no need to improve on this area. You're completely fine. You can let go of Dagbo as well. I don't think there's really any need to have him at the football club. And yeah, I think goalkeeper and defence, especially for this summer, which is more what we're looking at here more than anything, I think you're completely fine. Moving on into CDM, and obviously they brought in Manuel Ugarte. That's their big signing of the summer. You forget that this side has already brought in 5-6 players permanently. They don't need to, they shouldn't in theory need to be signing many more. Ugarte is a top quality player. He will start for the football club. I think it's time to move on Paredes. I don't think he's needed at the club. And I think he's another one which you may be able to get 10 to 15 million for. He was on loan at Juventus last season. didn't particularly light the world on fire, but he was semi-decent. I think you could easily get 10 to 15 million for him, and I don't think he's needed. I think you could also sell Danilo Pereira if that was something that the club wanted to do, and also if they feel like Warren Zaïre-Emery is up to it yet. Personally, I think you keep Danilo for this season. I think you also keep Zaïre-Emery. I think you keep him around the squad. I don't think you give him a loan move. Keep him around, play him for 10 to 15 games and see if he's good enough. You can easily play him in the league, and you'll win the league with 5 games to go. Especially under Enrique, who I think is a better manager than what Gaultier was. You'll win the league with 5-10 games to go. So you can give Zaïre-Emery that chance then. See if he's up to scratch, and then next time you can decide what to do. But I think you keep Pereira and Zaïre-Emery this summer, and then hopefully the aim could be to let go of Pereira next summer when Zaïre-Emery is fully ready. Moving on into the centre of midfield, and there's a lot of options here. The options that PSG currently have on their books are Vitinha, Verratti, Ruiz, Soler, Sanchez, Gini Wijnaldum, Mishu, and Kang-in Lee. Obviously, Kang-in Lee is a new signing, it's worth to remember, and one that I don't particularly see why they've done it. But we'll wait and see on that one. It seems a little bit strange, him coming from Mallorca. All of these options are simply not needed. While it's hard to sort of imagine which of these 4 or 5 options Enrique will fancy, at least 3 of them do need to leave the football club. I think Wijnaldum is the first one that will be moved on. He had a poor loan spell at Roma, having played 14 games, and is now 32 years of old. I could easily see a move to Saudi Arabia for Gini. I think Mishu will get a loan move. I think that's probably the best move for him coming back from Sunderland. I think if you could get him a loan move to maybe something like Lorient or somewhere like that, I think that would be the perfect kind of move for him, and one that he should be making as well for his own career. And then you imagine one or even possibly 2 of Ruiz, Soler and Sanchez will leave the football club. Personally, I would let go of Soler and Sanchez. I think they're the worst 2. I think Fabian Ruiz is a good player. Again, he's another one that Napoli let go of last summer before they had that excellent season, and you're kind of seeing that a lot with players who haven't furthered their career since leaving Napoli, and Napoli have obviously gone on to bigger and better things. I think Ruiz is a good player though, and I do think it's worth keeping him around. I don't particularly see much in Soler, and while I rate Sanchez, I rate Renato Sanchez a lot. I don't think he's a PSG player, and I never have. Last summer I was saying, Wolves, it would be a perfect move if they can go and get him, and I still think this summer, 20-25 million, if a club like Wolves or West Ham or someone like that wanted to go out and get Renato Sanchez, I think that would be the perfect move. And now we move into the attack, and the attack is the big one. Obviously on the left, with the format of this video, Neymar's leaving the football club. That's done, that's dusted. The format is, where do PSG go if they lose all of Messi, Mbappe and Neymar, presumably within this summer. I don't think all 3 will leave within this summer, but I don't think it's an unreasonable video, because I think by the end of next summer, I think all 3 of them will have left. Obviously, Messi's already moved on. You imagine Mbappe will leave this summer and then Neymar next. The only other left winger at the football club, bar Neymar, is Julian Draxler, who again I think is somebody who needs to be moved on and isn't good enough for this project anymore. Because of this, I think 2 left wingers are needed, and the first player I feel PSG need to sign will cost probably near to 50 million, and his name is Pedro Gonçalves. 26 goal involvements for in Liga NOS last season for Sporting CP. Just do it. He's a good player, and I think he will work well coming off that left-hand side. He can also play on the right. He can also play in attacking midfield, which is something Kang-in Lee can do, but not many other of their central midfield options. I don't think he'll be too expensive coming out from Liga NOS, and I think he's a really, really good player. So I think if they can, they should just go out, get it done, and move on. He's a good player. And again, he doesn't have much of an ego, which is something PSG definitely need to work on. One player who will be coming in with an ego is Wilfried Zaha, and I do think they should do this deal. We've recently heard that Zaha has declined Saudi Arabia because he asked for too much money, or Saudi Arabia have declined him. I don't think that's something people should read into too much. If Saudi Arabia were coming for me and I was Wilfried Zaha, I would ask a lot more of Saudi Arabia than I would from a club like PSG. I can imagine Zaha probably asked £1 million a week from Saudi Arabia, yet for somebody like PSG, would go 200 grand a week, 300 grand a week, probably 250, and PSG would probably do that. I think he's a good player and he adds a bit more experience to this attack, which we're going to see does not have much experience at all. Yes, he wants high wages, but a 3-year deal, I think, for a player who is used to performing and used to the pressure, I think it's still worth doing. And he links up very nicely with the player I'm bringing in on the right-hand side as well. So I think it's worth bringing Wilfried Zaha in. Speaking of the right-hand side, PSG have already obviously lost Messi this summer. However, they have done some work here already. They brought in Marcus Asensio from Real Madrid. I think he's a good option. However, I think they need somebody else to rotate with him, as Asensio is definitely not a world-class option that will go and take you on to win the Champions League. With Asensio being here and being a stable addition to this PSG side, I think they could take a risk on a new signing here, and I've done that. I've gone for somebody who's definitely high risk, but could potentially be incredibly high reward. And this guy has the chemistry with Wilfried Zaha. It's Michael Olise. Olise is now 21 years old. He's French, as we all know, so again, you know, coming to PSG is a club which he possibly idolised growing up, maybe. I think he'd fit in very well in this side. He's played with little ego, which helps, something which PSG definitely do need to improve upon. He may not give much when he's doing an interview, but if he performs well on the pitch, he'd definitely be worth the 65 million I feel PSG will have to pay. And then moving, last but not least, into striker. At striker, Mbappe is one who will be leaving the football club this summer unless he signs a new contract, which I cannot see happening. He said he doesn't want to sign a new contract. PSG have then gone, right, well, you're leaving the club. We're not losing you for free. Mbappe doesn't want to leave this summer, but this will have to get settled some way. And I think it will get settled with Mbappe moving to Real Madrid. Ekitike struggled in this PSG side last year, only picking up 3 goals and 4 assists. However, he's definitely clearly a talent, and he should be given more opportunities this year. Alongside the 2 strikers I've decided to bring in, because obviously Mario Icardi also needs to be moved on, which leaves PSG needing 2 strikers. The main striker I feel like PSG should be bringing in is Victor Osimhen. While the Napoli owner has said they want big money for Osimhen, a deal I feel like can be struck this summer. Osimhen already has experience in France after playing for Lille, and after an excellent season at Napoli, it's time for him to get a big move to a top European club. While I think he'll cost north of 100 million, if not near to 120, even 140 million, I think PSG can pay this, especially following that big money departure of Kylian Mbappe. However, I think they need another striker. If you've got Osimhen and if you've got Ekitike, I think an experienced option should be brought in to the Parisians, and I think the option for this is Wissam Ben Yedder. Ben Yedder's been scoring goals for Monaco for fun for years now, and while he's now 32, he's still consistently getting over 20 goals a season. He's got a contract expiring next summer, and I feel like at his age of 32, Monaco would be happy to accept 10, 15, even 20 million for him. That's something that is not much money for PSG at all. Probably get him in on a fairly cheap wage and it'd be an experienced option to add to the front line. So there we go. That's how I think PSG maybe go on to win the Champions League. I don't think they would do it if they did all of that, but I think it would be a step in the right direction. I think they would need to sort out a couple of areas of their squad first, especially bringing in some new key midfielders, but I do think that would definitely put them on the right track to go and win the Champions League. What do you make to my recommendations? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you all again in the next video. See ya!